Hey y'all, on today's show, we help Josh grow his picture book membership.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you again this week. Super excited to be talking to another member of the Flip Your Life community. And we've got a good one. We've got someone who took action, launched their membership, and got beta members. Really excited to welcome Josh Regath to the podcast today. What's up, Josh?
Not too much. Just surviving 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? I actually, that's why we started recording video of the podcast too with the audio to prove to people we were still alive. So we post those on YouTube. It's really us. We're not in a bunker somewhere. We're actually out here in the real world.
Maybe we can get some shirts one day that says, like, I survived 2020.
I heard a great dad joke the other day. You want to hear let's kick off. Jocelyn, you want to kick off the show with a great dad joke?
Well, I don't think it really matters my answer, but sure.
All right, so here's how the dad joke goes. You ready? Why can we not allow 2020 to end?
Why?
Because that would be admitting that 2021. Get it? You get it? Jocelyn, you get it? That's a good joke. That's a good joke right there.
Unfortunately.
Not the kids like that. Yeah. One of the things I'm going to start doing with the kids, they want to do, have you ever seen the water challenge with dad jokes? Your kids put water in your mouth and you keep telling them dad jokes until they spit it out. So I think we're going to do some dad jokes over on the old Flip Lifestyle YouTube channel. Today we're going to focus on you, Josh. We're going to focus on you. We're going to get away from corny dad jokes from Shane. So tell us a little bit about you, your background, and what it is that you are doing online.
Yeah, sure. So I am a fourth grade teacher, bilingual. I've been teaching now for 7 years, and I got started my very first year selling just some like a lesson plan here and there on a third-party website for lesson plans. Last year, 2 years ago now, I suppose, my wife got pregnant, and it was just terrible for her. I mean, she was puking like 4 times a day the entire pregnancy. She couldn't work.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, I know. Well, she's a special ed assistant too. So, I mean, she was like dealing with, kids that are like fatty kids touching her all day, and she like with puking on top of it, she just had to randomly make eyes with the teacher, be like, I need to go, and like leave. And finally she just couldn't do it anymore. So I'm like, I really got to double down on this business so I can provide for us. So, from pretty much the day that I found out that she was pregnant, I'm like, we got to start making some more money here. Like, we got a kid coming. So
that's the truth.
I was making a new lesson plan and activities, like week-long lesson plans for a different picture book every day, 223 days straight.
So basically, you started making lesson plans for picture books, so
they go along with existing books,
right? You actually took a book and made a plan for a specific book, basically.
Exactly, to help teachers out, who maybe they're looking for a lesson plan on this book, and it's like they search it up, there it is. They got a lesson plan and activities for an entire week for it.
I gotcha. And then, how did you determine which books? Just by the most popular books that you knew you were using in class, kind of deal?
Yeah, it started out with books that I knew that I was using in class. Then it was, okay, well, what's this grade level using? What's this grade level using? And then I was trying to get more, in between like the first through like third grade levels, like the more popular ones, because that's where picture books are used more so. And there's a huge variety, and I'm nowhere near all of them.
And were you being strategic about this by looking up like what schools were actually using, what people were searching for? Were you doing any kind of research or anything?
Sure. Yeah. So I was using Amazon, like bestsellers, looking at that, just looking to, at like what other school districts were using nearby, like what, picture books are part of their curriculum. I was trying to look at, curriculum for, like Engage New York, like some of, like the big curriculums, like what picture books do they focus on, like in their curriculums and all together. Yeah.
So now let me ask you this. when you started using the third-party marketplace and you were selling, there's a lot of third-party marketplaces for every platform. There's Udemy, there's Teachers Pay Teachers, there's anything, any space you're in, there's probably a third-party marketplace for it. Did you make money? Did you start making some sales? How much money were you making? Like what was happening there?
Yeah. So like I said, I was selling on there for 7 years. It started out, it was like, hey, I made, like $2 this month. That's awesome. Hey, then it was, hey, I made $10. And, now it's more, this last year I've been making over $1,000 each month.
Nice. And that came with volume. Yeah. I would assume you just kept piling stuff on until you were nickel and diming it all across the board, basically.
Yeah, it was. Because most of my lesson plans I'm selling for like $2.75 each or $3. If I've got like a digital component with it. So it was a lot of volume and just getting better with SEO and marketing. Trying to figure out like Pinterest and Facebook ads,
driving traffic to the third party marketplace, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. And what made you decide to think about like a membership site or something else? Like how did you find us and how did you hear our story? And then what happened next when what made you join the community?
Yeah. So I was listening to a lot of podcasts about, being a teacherpreneur, which is, what they're calling us these days. So just listen to various podcasts, one of them asked, what other podcasts do you listen to? What kind of, like what other, PD are you learning about? And one of them mentioned a couple times, the Flip Your Life community. And I was like, hey, let's listen to this one. It was, I've got all summers, my summers are free technically. So, I listened to a lot of podcasts over the summer and learned more and found you guys that way. And I ended up listening to a lot of podcasts.
That's a common trend we see when people find us. They're like, wait, what is this going on here? And they just binge everything all the way down through the channels.
Yeah, we have a lot of podcasts now, so it probably took a little while.
Yeah, it probably took a little while. Yeah, we have hundreds of podcasts. Yeah. Yeah. So all right. So you joined the community. And I actually, we always look for people who are taking action in the community. That's how Josh wormed his way onto the Flip Lifestyle podcast, y'all. You're wondering out there. But we're always looking for people posting, and we saw you like doing things and taking action. And I read something interesting. Like you joined, and in 2 weeks you had your membership ready. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
that's massive action taking right there, man.
Yeah. I had a website already. And I was just using it for blogging, but, as soon as I got on the community, I'm like, you know what, I'm doing this, like with the whole pandemic, I was home, teaching, from home, distance learning. So I'm like, I got this extra time, granted, like for the 1-year-old running around, mostly doing work after she went to bed at 8. And, some mornings I was staying awake till like 3 a.m., but I'm like, I'm getting this ready. I want to have this launch before the school year's out. So that, I still have some teachers opening emails up.
That's right. That's right. I listen, for everybody listening out there, do you see what's happening here? Someone made a decision. They made a choice and they took action and they stayed up late and they got up early and they did the work. And that may be why your membership is not launched right now. Maybe you're dreaming about a membership. Maybe your idea is out there and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, but you're not doing this. Josh did this. And then how big was your list that you launched this to? Like, who did you launch this to?
Yeah, I sent it to my email list that had 1,200 people on it at the time.
1,200.
But I've really been focusing since then on really growing that list with, sending Facebook ads to people, just try to, increase that list. I'm up to 1,600 now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how many members did you get when you launched?
I got 3 beta members.
3 beta members.
All right,
hey,
that's
man,
awesome.
That's amazing. If you can find 3, you can find 300. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're there. You've proven the concept. Now, how did you launch? Did you only launch like with an email sequence? Did you do a webinar? Like what did you do when you launched? Or was it just like, hey guys, I got something cool, check it out? Like what did you do?
Yeah. It started out with an email. I said, hey, I'm thinking about, starting a membership site. Let me know if you're interested. And it was like, click here if you're interested. And then I was like, I was tagging people on my list saying, they're interested in the membership. And I think I got like 100 people saying they were interested. So I'm like, okay, so, we've got people that would be interested. So I'm like, okay, let's start making it. And then I just got the email sequence and it was just, an email sequence saying, hey, I'm starting a membership site. It's going to be for all of my lesson plans rather than just you buy one here, you buy one there. It's access to all of them, a community. Is we're going to be supporting each other. And then it was, hey, doors are open. You can join now. Here it is.
Did you only send that to the interested clicks? Or did you send it to everybody?
I sent it to everybody.
Okay, good.
Send it to everybody. I also had one, I had an option, like, hey, if you're not interested, click here. And then I was not sending it to them just because I don't want them off my list just because they're not interested.
See, but here's what you should do there. The unsubscribe button is a very good weapon and friend in your toolbox. So you should never segment people. Just buy or unsubscribe. Get off my list. There's no in between. They'll if they're not going to buy, and that's your product. Then
what's the purpose?
What's the point of paying for them to be on your list? You know what I mean? There are reasons to segment for sure. I'm not saying there's never a reason to segment. One time, a lot of times we will segment in our live events. Because that is a real difference in the live events and the online stuff. But most of the time, just keep sending it to everybody.
Yeah, if you have one product, then there's no reason to not
even worry
send
about
people. I mean, if they're not going to buy from you, then why pay to have them on your list?
Yep. So now I love that you got members. I love that you did an email thing. That you did an email launch. And then did you open and close it? Or did you leave it open and it's open forever? You just were kind of telling them it was open. What happened? Was there any scarcity or urgency or anything?
Yeah. So with the launch, I was saying, hey, this is for beta members only. This is going to be the lowest price I will ever offer it ever. With these pricing options, for monthly, yearly, I even had a lifetime option there, just hey, maybe.
Right.
And then I said, okay, after this, price is going to be going up. And after I closed it, then prices, and I, bumped it up a few bucks a month or something like that.
Yeah. But so you did a price increase, basically.
Yeah.
And now it's open forever. Okay, that's good. Well, first of all, that's awesome.
Congratulations for getting started and getting people on board.
Yeah, that's farther than most people will ever go. Most people just dream. That's all they ever do. And you actually built this thing and got it off the ground and launched it. And what is your price point right now?
Right now, it's $23 a month, or $197 for a year.
Okay, 20. Why 20? Why 23? That's a random price.
I started. I think for the beta launch, I said it was $22 a month. I'm well, I want to have it be a little bit more, but I was also worried about maybe it was the price that was driving people away, saying oh, that's too much to spend per month.
No. Let me ask you. Let me give you an analogy. If you were with your kid and your wife, let's imagine your kid's a little older. Okay. And they get 7, right? Maybe there's a second kid. Maybe there was a second puke fest, right? Coming in the older
Hopefully not.
household.
Maybe next time will be better.
Maybe it'll be better, right? And let's say you got 2 kids in the back and you're driving through, right? And you get up to the, you look on the menu at McDonald's and it says $23. And they're $23. Then you get up to the front of the window and she's I didn't hit the button on the second Happy Meal. It's actually $29. Are you driving away from McDonald's? Are you leaving being
I'll never come back.
I'll never come back. You keep your food. There's a huge difference at 23 and 20. There's not. There's no difference. You see what I'm saying? And psychologically, you should just bump that up to 29 immediately.
Okay.
Right? Because nobody's going to balk at anything in the 20s.
I don't know. The teacher market is a little
spacey.
Yeah.
But 21 to 29 is now 19 to 29 is a difference.
You'll have a couple of people, but we're not worried about them.
We're not worried about them. They never would have bought anything anyway. Okay. So that's the first thing that we should address and this is something that people do in pricing. They really people overcomplicate pricing. Your first price should be randomly picked out of a hat, and it should be somewhere between 19 and 99, 19, 29, 39, 49. It doesn't matter. Just pick a random price, right? And whatever your best guess is for your market is fine. But don't get too complicated. And I'm raising it from 23 to 25. Then we're going from 25 to 27.
Okay.
Prices raised 29 to 39, 39 to 49. Or if you end it in 7, because some people love 7s, 27, 37, 47, 57. You just keep raising it until people stop paying, basically,
Okay.
So that's the first thing I'm hearing right now. And also too, I'm wondering, why didn't you do something live? Why did you just want to see if anyone would buy it before you went down that rabbit hole? Or why did you just rely on email marketing for this?
Yeah, just since it was a beta launch, I wanted it to be people that already knew me, had been getting emails from me, had seen my lesson plans before. I wanted it to be people that, already a little comfortable, knew me already, and had stayed on my list for a while, because I was, filtering out from like the people that had been on my list, still weren't through like the welcome sequence yet.
Gotcha.
Because in my welcome sequence, I give a few free lesson plans, and I wanted it to be people that had already gotten a few free lesson plans and decided to stay on the list.
So how often do you email your list?
Every week.
Okay. And then have you opened, when did you launch? What month?
I launched in May.
Oh, okay. So it's not even been a month yet.
So we're now in June.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have you sent a sales email since then?
I have not.
Okay. Well, the good news is this is typically a slower time for education.
Yep.
So that's the good news, is that people are coming on board, even though like most schools are out. We've been out of school forever and people are unsure what's going to happen in the fall. I mean, that's really good news for you.
Yes, exactly. Because if you can get people to buy now off of just a cold email, what's going to happen next when you do something next level, like do a webinar and start doing weekly webinars, or email your list 3 times a week. Like, you got to email that list more. You know what I'm saying? Like, once a week doesn't cut it. You won't cut through the noise like that. And also, just relying on email marketing. Email marketing is one bucket for your membership. The other bucket is a live event. The other, you're in a webinar. The other bucket is ads. The other bucket is this. The other bucket is that, right? So that's just a part of the equation. It's never going to fill your entire membership up just with a bunch of emails. You know what I'm saying? But if you do get some from a launch, and you do get some from daily emailing, which Monday, Wednesday, Friday is usually what I tell everybody to start. And that way it leaves Tuesday, Thursday if you have an idea, right?
Okay.
All right. And then if you start doing, when back to school comes again, like the real hot time, like, hey guys, I'm doing a weekly webinar starting July 15th all the way to September 15th, right? And it's the same topic, how to teach with picture books or something, whatever. Like, you've got great potential here, because I promise you with 1,600 emails, there's a lot more than 3 members. Like,
especially when people know what's going on with school and all that. Like, it's going to be a good summer, most likely.
Yep. So where are you struggling, like, right now? Like, so what's happened now with the members? Like, are they active? Are they engaging? Are they doing anything? Like, what are you learning? Because that's why you get beta members, is to learn. All 3 of those people will probably quit in the next 3 or 4 months. I mean, it just won't happen. So, like, right now we're just trying to soak as much information out of this avatar that said yes as possible. So, like, what's your biggest struggle right now? What's going on in the membership? How's that working out?
Yeah, so I feel like the big struggle right now is just engaging the members. They've signed up, but with it coming into summer, a lot of teachers, not teaching, not really necessarily needing lesson plans right now. It's been kind of difficult engaging them, like in the forums and even through email.
Yeah, so this is going to happen. This is typical of summer in education.
And every area, like all businesses, have this lull period. Like for us, December in Flip Your Life, like we don't even work really in December, because like other than serving our actual active members, there's just not a lot going on because everybody's buying Christmas presents. And, after Black Friday, the online business space kind of dies until New Year.
But that doesn't mean that we stop marketing. We continue to market, but maybe we do it in a little bit different way. So what I would do in the summertime when I had the librarian site is I would come up with a series of training, like free training. And one of the things that I did is I even set it up where they could get a certificate, so they could apply to get professional development hours. That doesn't mean that their district would allow them to do so, but they could at least apply. So I would send them a certificate. You can actually, this is very nerdy, but you can do this on Google. You can use a Google form, and there is a plugin called AutoCrat, C-R-A-T, I believe, Auto, C-R-A-T. And that basically allows you to email them automatically. So you can mail merge their information into a certificate and email them. And they love this. Like, this is something that was like huge for me. They will also send it to their friends. So if you come up with a free training, you're there live, it's something that's a benefit to them. It's not super salesy, but it lets them know, hey, I have these types of materials for you. That was really, really good for me.
And and the overall strategy there is starting a conversation with your members that's actually relevant. right? Like right now, your lesson plans are not relevant because they're not in class. And if you sit there and are like, hey guys, let's talk about, this,
how to teach this book,
everyone's going to be like, no, I'm going to the pool, right? Like they're not going to pay attention to that. But if you can, you have to think outside the box and say, well, what conversation are they thinking about? Maybe they don't have all their PD hours. Maybe it's some kind of spring cleaning or some kind of their classroom, or maybe it's something else. Like think about.
So you need to talk to your people and see what they want.
Yes. So think about what they will engage with, not about what you want them to engage with. That almost is never the same thing. And like Jocelyn and I never think about what we want. It's always what does our membership want.
And one of the things that I did in elementary librarian that was really successful is I did an open house webinar. And, we talked about ideas for open house. Like if you were a librarian, what could you do to draw people into the library? And, would I do that today? Possibly not, because a lot of people don't even know if they're going back to school in the fall.
Exactly.
So how can you insert your product, your service? How can you insert yourself into that conversation where you're relevant right now? And that when people do go back to school, they're like, oh yeah, I remember Josh has this awesome website where he has all these lesson plans.
Also too, like your first, like say 20 to 50 members, the goal is like people come to our member calls and they're like, ooh, I want to have member calls with dozens of people and people in the chat and asking questions and all that. But like that happened over 6-7 years that built into that much momentum. Your first 20 to 40 people, you really need to be having one-on-one conversations. You need to be, forget member calls and forums and Facebook groups and all that stuff. You need to send messages and be like, hey, I'd love to jump on a call for 30 minutes and me and you just talk about the books that you're using in your classroom. Talk about, what you want me to create for you. I just want to serve you so much and help you that I would love to jump on a one-on-one call. And really, honestly, with 3 people, maybe one of them does it, right? This might even be something you have to expand out for now to your whole membership email list, right? Like the entire email list. But you have to learn as much about these people because that's your avatar. You may think you know your avatar because you took our training and you got a good idea about it, the avatar training. But those 3 people they signed up, right? So any preconceived notion you have, anything you got from our training, anything else, that was just the baseline. That was the guess. But now we have an accurate, we hit the bullseye. We got somebody, right? So maybe shift your focus toward one-on-one conversations, reach outs, shift the focus toward relevant things. What's happening now? Like there's a lot of, I'm sure there's picture books and things too about like social justice and all of the protests and things that are happening. Maybe you haven't got enough of the, go focus on those books. Send those lessons to your email list for free. And focus on what's happening in the news. Focus on coronavirus. Talk about that. Anna Jo, our little girl's in the Gifted and Talented program. And when the coronavirus broke out right before school left, the Gifted and Talented program shifted all of their discussion to the coronavirus and everything they knew about it. She's talked about that since it happened for 3 months, right? So if you can become really relevant and give away as much as you can over the summer, you're and explode that list, work one-on-one with those members, know them, and now you know exactly how your message is going to lay out in the fall. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I've been writing blog posts about social justice type books, things like that, sending that out to my list. I've also been what I've been focusing on since it started was just how do you teach with like picture books like read aloud when you have to teach through Zoom or through, whatever.
Yes.
And I think that's been a huge part of why my list has grown so much since.
That would be really good webinar trainings. Like
also the summer slide, everybody talks about the summer slide and it's going to be really quite a shift this year, I think, because, a lot of people have been out of school. So maybe it's even something like that, like ask people, just go out to your list or to your social media channels and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing some trainings this summer. What would you like to see? And just leave it open-ended like that. People will come up with amazing ideas.
But I think if you add, once you get that information, if you add live trainings, I would be going live every week if I were you. I would make it a set date, a set thing. Do you have any social media presence with this, or is it just an email list?
I've got a Facebook page. I'm on Instagram, not much, but mostly it's Facebook where I'm at.
Start a Facebook group called Teaching with Picture Books.
Okay.
Like literally name it Teaching with Picture Books, and then start inviting your list there. Start inviting every blog post, promote it on your Facebook page every day. Post, hey, I posted a new post in my Facebook group. Start building a group up. I think that's going to help you get some more free conversation flowing, and give you a place where you can really do some polls and talk to those people, and there'll be some synergy back and forth between your Facebook group and your list. Okay. Also, too, what I'm not hearing, and this is really important, I'm not hearing how you're going to capitalize on that third-party list that you've got, the people that have bought things from you on Teachers Pay Teachers, right? Because you can send notes to them, you can send things to them, and there's some gray area in there, like about what you can share and where you can share it. But there's definitely tools available to you. You've got an untapped audience of people who have paid you that you're allowed to contact through your platform, right? That may not have you announced it there that you have a website, that you have a blog, that you have a thing like that? Have you done that?
Oh yeah, I mean everything on every lesson plan I have is right next to the copyright symbol is my website.
What about your notes? What about your notes? When was last time you clicked on a copyright symbol?
Yeah.
Think about that.
It's at the very bottom of all the lesson plans.
Yeah, I know. It's at the bottom. They're not looking at it. We got to tell. Yeah. You got to smack your avatar in the face with a club. Like you can't just sit there and hey guys, I'm over here at the bottom in my copyright.
In case you want to notice me, come over here.
Come over here. Look down. Look down. Right? I'm just picking on you, man.
No, our job is to jump in front of them with a big sign and say, "Hey, I'm here. Check out all the other amazing things that I have to offer."
Like put an ad. If I always tell, I told someone one time they have PowerPoints, right, for their lesson plans, and I'm like, put an ad for your membership in the middle of the slide. So when they're right in the middle of teaching, they have no choice. They're like, and on the next slide, wait, but then they remember you planted the seed. They got to come back to it, right? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then there's most third-party marketplaces have ways to send it to all your buyers. They may not give you the emails. But Teachers Pay Teachers has a note thing, I know, because I use it. It's three times a month you're allowed to send something out to
But what if you just say, hey, I have a new resource on TPT and have a very prominent website address in there?
Put a free thing on there and then tell your notes, but the free thing is designed to drive them back to your website.
So for more information, you can check out my website here.
Yeah, and you can put P.S. Don't forget, I have a blog where I talk about teaching with picture books. Or you can say P.S. and you can drop links in those notes, But if you're promoting a free thing you're giving away on Teachers Pay Teachers, it's just like when people buy a book from the bookstore and the whole book has links back to their website. They're being completely overt. You've got it. That's the goal is to use the platform to build your brand, right? Mm-hmm. So use that more. That's a powerful resource that you're ignoring, to be more frequently doing that stuff. You know what I mean? Sure. What other ideas have you had this summer to grow your brand?
Other things I'm trying to do, staying consistent with my list, putting out more blog posts, more top, listicle type blog posts, picture books for teaching whatever, picture books for teaching this. I mean, I've currently got about 20 odd blog posts about that already, but it's a great way. I mean, Pinterest, I see a lot of traffic from there where, I can get a lot of traction on that with, posting blog posts there. And it's, right. Hey, find this lesson plan right here at the bottom of every, book, explanation. I say, okay, here's this book, find a lesson plan and activities right here. But, I'm trying to do most of my advertising, sending people right to my blog rather than to the third party website. Cause then it's my people and I can get them with the pixel.
And how often do you blog?
I'm blogging about once a week right now. And it's been a little bit less recently just because I've been trying to get all of my lesson plans onto the membership site. I've got about half on there right now out of the 400. But it's taken a while.
I kind of wonder, Josh, if you're making it too hard as far as the blog posts. Like, one of the things that we do on U.S. History Teachers is that we give away like one part of the lesson plan. So, if the lesson plan consists of a PowerPoint, a worksheet, what else is in there? I don't even remember.
Everything. Reading guides, crossword puzzles.
Yeah. So if it consists
Partridge in a Pear Tree,
like 7 things, maybe we'll put one of them for free.
And you have 400 lesson plans. And you said you're adding like 10 a week, right? Like why would you not just
10 a day?
Oh my. Yeah, okay.
Bro, so nobody knows what's in there. Why are you making quit making lesson plans.
All right, Josh. Stop.
No, I'm not making. I'm just adding ones I already have.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. 4 members to access.
Okay, good.
Here's what you do. Stop trying to come up with so much content. You likely have enough content right now. Do a lesson of the week, feature it on your website, on social media, and you're done.
Yeah, like talk about like you could do a blog post called like take one of your plans and say how to teach this book, and then tell them, hey, here's all the stuff here's how you teach this book. Click here to get it. Like you could do that, and maybe like a few SEO keyword sentences. Exactly, and then email your list 3 times a week about that same blog post.
People do not know that you have all these things. Just because they've scrolled through them one time on Teachers Pay Teachers,
right,
doesn't mean that they're like, oh well, I already knew that you had that.
This is the biggest mistake that anybody makes in online business is, we all talk about content, right? If no one knows how awesome your content is, it doesn't matter how good your blog posts are. Doesn't matter how good, because they don't know how good your product is. They don't know all the stuff that's in there. Mm-hmm. Like your entire mindset's got to stop right now. And I know you're loading up your membership with old content. That's fine. But here's the deal. How many have you got in there already?
About 200.
Well, tell people about those 200 before you put in 200 more. Like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like
even if you did one a week, if you featured one a week, that's 52.
Yeah, you could keep putting stuff in there. Like, and don't try to get everything in there at once. Just say, hey, I add a new resource every week. Like now, just take all those other 200. We've got 200 things a week. So when you get members, they're going to feel like, ooh, now you can feature a new thing, right? Like Monday's blog post is how to use this book that's already in there. Wednesday's blog post is check out this new thing I'm adding this week, right? Fridays or email, I'm sorry, not blog posts. And then Friday is look at the 2 things that are in the membership I talked about this week. And you're just constantly telling people everything that's in there right now. You've got to shift your focus to promotion.
And that's also a good retention strategy because you're reminding your members constantly, hey, look at all this cool stuff that I have.
I add a book every single week. Like imagine if you did that. Imagine if you stopped adding everything right now and all that energy you're putting into adding 10 a day, you put into telling 10 people a day about your membership and making sure they heard it. Right. And then you shift to, I'll just take all this content that's not in there. And that's my next 200-week strategy of content.
Does that make your life a little bit easier?
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got a built-in retention strategy. I got 200 weeks of retention built in. I'm going to, hey guys, now you got a new draw for your membership. I'm going to add a new book every week. Right. There's already 200 in there and I'm going to add a new book every week.
Almost 4 years?
4 years of content, right?
You could do 2 a week.
You now have an email strategy where you can eat. You could eat right Monday through Friday right now for 200 days and then start over. You could literally say Monday, send an email. Hey, did you know I had this book in this membership? It's awesome. We talk about this, that, and the other. Hey, if you want to get access to it, click here. You could literally email your list every day. You could literally retain every week for your membership. And now you just spend all of that energy on promotion. Everything's on promotion. At that point. And then that's when magic happens. When you're not creating content and all you're doing is promoting what you've already created.
And there's really no need to create content. Like I finally reached this epiphany on Elementary Librarian. I mean, I was writing a blog post every week. Like it was so hard. And I was like, gosh, I have probably like 100 blog posts and what do I have left to talk about? Like I don't really have much left to talk about.
So she just started highlighting what was in the membership.
Yeah, and like it just made life so much easier. And that's what people care about anyway. They want to know what you have. They don't want to necessarily know what you're doing in your classroom this week. I mean, that's nice if you want to talk about it from time to time, but like they don't need all that information. They want to know that you have something that can help them.
I got one more idea here. This one's very interesting because there's a lot of reach, I think, that you're not seeing, because you have sold to teachers and you're a teacher. But this almost feels more like a homeschool product. because there's a lot of first through third graders at home being homeschooled, and a lot of people, I promise you the homeschool numbers are going to swell. That's actually, we're doing right now, we're moving U.S. history teachers completely over to a new platform because, great marketers have to look into the future. And Jocelyn and I were talking one day, and we were basically like, this has to become a homeschool product now, because there's going to be 1 million more kids learning at home next year. If schedules are broken up and all of that's happening, there's definitely going to be a homeschool market, right? I'm thinking you need a homeschool pipeline, and you need to be building. So
you use your same stuff, but
it's the same membership.
You just market it a slightly different.
You just have a sales page that's more toward a parent, and you have an ad that's more like, hey, are you teaching with picture books at home for homeschool? Let a certified teacher give you lesson plans to show you how to do it.
And so to be clear, I want to make sure that people understand we're not saying you need to change who you're targeting. You need to target these people in addition. It's
the same membership. It's the same thing. The only thing you create is a new ad, a new sales page, and a new checkout page. You dump everybody in the same place to get access to the resources, right?
Sure.
And we wouldn't suggest this to everyone, but because you already have a solid backbone, then I think that you're ready to do this.
Yeah, all you got to do is make 3 pages, and you've got a new ad. You just target parents of kids under, 9, right? And then which is easily targeting on Facebook. You can just go in and pick parents with kids under 9. You can, or something. It's somewhere in that. It might be 10. I don't remember what it is. But that might be very valuable. You might find a whole new world to do that. Now, that would be an excuse to segment your list, because you're going to be sending different emails to parents than you are to teachers, right? So those people would need to be tagged as, the parent funnel instead of the teacher funnel. But that's easy. That's something you could do right now. And that might just can you imagine what if 1,000 homeschool parents of, 9-year-olds and under, they're teaching with picture books and they just want a lesson plan for it. You could easily add that in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we covered a lot right there. Is there does that all make sense? Are you confused by anything? Do we overwhelm you too much, or
are you running away screaming, or are you
running toward the future? Right?
No, I've got my list of next 2 things I'm going to do till about 2-3 a.m. For like the next week, I'm sure.
So tell us what you're going to do the next 24 hours, because that's what matters. You got to get some momentum here. So what's your next step?
Yeah, so my next step right now, I would say, would be to reach out personally to each of my 3 members. Just like a personal email to each of them, reaching out to try to get on a call with them, really, hear what it is they're looking for, how I can help them the most.
How did they find you? That's
how did they get
important.
How did they find you? That's a great one.
I like that. Just writing this stuff down. And then
we are recording this. You can listen back. It's okay.
And then just working on 3 emails a week, just highlighting a different thing. Hey, this lesson plan just got added. Hey, this is how you teach with this lesson plan, like that, how you were suggesting before.
Love it, man. Well, listen, a great conversation. We're proud of you. It's amazing. I love seeing that action taking. Just all in. Josh came screaming into the community and just started getting stuff done. And, you're seeing now, man, there's a seed there that could grow into something really, really amazing. You've got tons of opportunity in 2 or 3 different markets. And this is a great product, man. It's a generalized product, and you've put the work in. You just got to get it in front of people. Yeah,
I'm excited for you. I think that the possibilities are really endless.
Yeah, man. And we appreciate you coming on the show today, too, and taking a little no sugar, but taking it on the chin and moving forward, man. We appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, that wraps up our conversation with Josh Regath. Man, I'm telling you, if everyone would take as much action as fast as Josh did when he joined the Flip Your, he joined, upgraded, went all in, took action, built a membership in 2 weeks, launched, and got a beta group going. And now he is off to the races with amazing opportunity and potential. And that's what it takes if you want to change your family's future, if you want to succeed in memberships and in online business. We would love to help you do that inside of the Flip Your Life community. You can come in there. Josh is in there. Me and Jocelyn are in there. And we hang out with our members all the time, helping them start, build, and grow memberships of their own. You can try the Flip Your Life community right now for 30 days for free. All you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. Jump in. Doesn't matter where you are. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you don't have an idea. Maybe you've got a blog, a website, and you just want to add a little more to it with that revenue and the membership model. Come into the Flip Your Life community. We will help you do it. That's flippedlifestyle.com/free, and you can try it out for 30 days right now. All right, guys, we are about out of time, but before we go, we've got a couple more segments that we want to throw at you. One of them is our Can't Miss Moments segment, and this is where we talk about things that we get to do now that we might not have been able to do when we had those 9-to-5 jobs, when we weren't making as much money as we do now online, and we got some cool ones for you this week.
All right, so my can't miss moment this week is working with my Australian mastermind group. It's kind of unusual that a Kentucky girl
mate.
would be talking to 3 Australians, but I do. We talk every other week, and it's been really awesome just to have the opportunity to talk to them. And the funny thing is, people always ask me, where did you meet these people? And I'm like, well, I met my Australian friends in the Philippines. This is a true story.
True story.
So, had it not been for online business and traveling to events, I never would have met them. And they're really awesome and fun people. So
it's pretty wild. Like, we live in Kentucky, but on any given day, we probably Voxer or talk to people from like 4 or 5 countries, like Canada, Australia. I was talking to a guy from England the other day.
I say we talk to more people from outside of Kentucky than we do inside
of Kentucky. And that's pretty cool because we get this amazing perspective of the world that we probably would have never, ever even hoped to have had without an online business. And on that note, before we close, we want to share a Bible verse. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, and we have one that's about friends and working together and masterminds for you today. It's Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9. The Bible says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. That's why we have mastermind groups. That's why we go to live events all over the world to meet new friends all over the world, so we can unite together and move toward our goals together. And that's why we started the Flip Your Life community, because we are better together. It's so much easier to succeed when you're surrounded by great people. So make sure you're doing this out there with other people. Make sure you're not trying to go at it alone. Do this together, and you will get a great reward for your labor as well. That's all the time we have for this week, guys. Until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye. I mean, how many times have we done this?
Hold on. Gosh. Okay.